Alright, I'm out here on yet another project. Unfortunately, not related to that one like it should be, but we've got some wheels. So, sorry, it's sunny. We are going to get these things Plastidipped for the Land Cruiser. So I got a little tripod here. I guess to give some details, let's see here. So we're using your standard Plastidip. The can is nice and warm. I've let it soak in some warm water for 10 minutes. So we've given it a good shake. And we are going to get these TRD Rock Warriors in a new shade. And we are going with their bronze gold. So let's get started. All right, so I'm also I'm following the instructions. You know, I've watched a bunch of videos and stuff on this before. I've Plastidipped a set of wheels once. But unfortunately the color was totally wrong, so I never even kept them. But you know, first coat we're going to go with a light tack coat. Again, they're aiming for about 50% coverage, and so like I said, we're gonna throw a little light tack coat on here. And then I think you're supposed to wait about 30 minutes. So you know, we're just going to take it nice and slow. The biggest thing is, you know, all your prep work, and then just taking your time. So that's the big key to anything that you're going to paint. So I've got everything here taped off. I've used their release liquid that comes in the kits. So that's why you've got the shiny sidewall, and you know, we should really be good to go. You want to make sure that you keep moving. You don't want to sit still as you're painting, so that you're getting good coverage again. And then the video from the dip guys specifically stated that you want the wheel vertical. So you don't want to lay them down. That's why, since I haven't installed these on the truck yet, there was no sense in me turning them or putting them on. So I'm doing it off the vehicle. But I don't know why, but I am getting some splatter. I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know what is going on with this can. So let me see if I can't get this cleaned up. All right, it's a little tough to see, but I think you can tell I've got one light tack coat on there. You can see this is where it was spattering so much, and I don't really know what was going on there. So none of that really got on the wheel. I also don't need these to look perfect. So, but there's our little tack coat. We're gonna give it about 20-30 minutes and come back out and start doing some of the heavy coats. Tack coat is on, so now we're gonna go heavy coat. I got the handle out because, you know, again, you guys saw something funny was going on with the nozzle, so hopefully this alleviates that issue. And it is not. So we're going back to finger. There's definitely an issue with the can. Again, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. It seems like it's actually the seal where this attaches. So I'm hoping I can just get through this wheel. I'm trying not to get too close. Remember, you want to keep moving. It's tough getting inside the spokes, but next round I'm wearing gloves. was a good heavy coat. We're gonna give that again 25-30 minutes, and then we'll try hitting another one. So we'll see how much of this actually makes it from the can to the wheels. Tack coat is on, so now we're gonna go heavy coat. I got the handle out because, you know, again, you guys saw something funny was going on with the nozzle, so hopefully this alleviates that issue. And it is not. So we're going back to finger. There's definitely an issue with the can. Again, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. It seems like it's actually the seal where this attaches. So I'm hoping I can just get through this wheel. I'm trying not to get too close. Next round, I'm wearing gloves. That was a good heavy coat. We're gonna give that again 25-30 minutes, and then we'll try hitting another one. So we'll see how much of this actually makes it from the can to the wheels. All right, guys. Got a glove on this time. And from an angle, I can see I definitely need to start hitting inside the spokes a little better. So here we go, coat number 3. Miraculously, it's not dripping this time. So alright, I just saw it, it's starting to drip. Alright, third coat on, it's the second heavy coat. Here we go for another 25 minutes. Alright, going for, I think this is coat number 3. Total number 4, but the third heavy coat. And one of the bright sides of Plastidip, you can't put too much of this stuff. So that's one thing that's really awesome. So got my glove on again because I'm expecting that this can is probably going to leak, but it barely leaked the last round. So I don't know. We'll see. What? All right, I think that's number 3, 4 total. So another 25 minutes. All right, guys. I think there's probably 2 coats left in here, but I'm gonna see if there's a chance that I can put down 1 heavy coat and get the can, you know, empty enough. 1 can for a wheel this big, probably a little overkill, but again, one of the nice things about Plastidip is you can't have too much. You can have too little, but you can't have too much. So here we go. Well, let's tighten this glove up so my finger is good. And The other thing is you don't want to get down to the last drops of a can, because generally that's when things start acting funny, and I'm going to say that's it. So we got one wheel done. I got some weather. I've got some bad weather that might be coming in, so we are going to roll this guy into the garage, and that is 1 out of 4. So, all right, we're back out here on the wheels. You know, lots of painting, trying to knock out and get all 4 of these done, but we're finally there. So the paint's had, honestly, a couple of days. It's been a little bit since I got back out here to it. But let's go ahead and get this stuff stripped. What I like to start with is we've got the tape. So we're gonna pull the tape. I've got the valve stem covered and I've got tape. This is where the beadlock goes, so that's why I've got it taped off. And I'll show you guys that here in a second. Also, the other key, and this makes getting this stuff off a lot easier. So I used, let's get this stuff checked out real quick. So I used the dip release. You're gonna put that on the tire. It's basically kind of like tire shine. When you put that on there, it helps to get this off. But the other thing that's gonna make this a lot easier, spray really heavy on your tire. When you spray the Plastidip really heavy on the tire, it'll make all of that coming off a lot easier. So this is what I'm talking about here. You can see, you know, I've got this sprayed real heavy here. Here it's lighter, but this, ideally, you can see it's already coming off with just the dip release. But again, you can see that that's sprayed on heavy. So let's go ahead and get this off. Right here, you can see it's actually just flat out peeled off. Look at that. And that, again, that's done by spraying heavy on the tire. So, and then what I like to do is get a rag. What I like to do is use a microfiber and basically just wipe this off. As a whole, that dip release makes this coming off a lot easier. You got a couple of spots here where I'm gonna have, this is where the can was dripping. So I've got some spots here where I'm gonna have to peel that off. Again, nothing too crazy. And there we have it. I think I've said it to you guys before too. I don't need these to be perfect. I'm not going perfection on this truck. So this is gonna look a million times better than it was. Now, one last trick though that I have to that is if you've still got some leftover residue, if you get something that is a citrus oil based like aerosol, hopefully you guys can see that. If you get something that's like a citrus oil based citrus extract, all natural, you can take this and it breaks down the Plastidip. So literally this is just citrus air freshener. And these spots here, you can get those last bits. Like here I've got some overspray. And it comes right out. So just be careful not to get that on your wheels where you're wanting to keep the paint. So anyway, this last one. So I've been having some trouble with this, and so let's see if this gives me grief or not. Where's my tape line? I don't see where this starts and finish, so we're just gonna tear it. Are, and then valve stem uncovered, all the tape's off. So there we have it, guys. So there's the wheel, nice and Plastidip. Obviously, you know, got a little bit of dirt, dust, and corrosion from this coming off, but nothing on the tire. Nice clean lines. And again, I didn't put any Plastidip here. Instead, I could just covering up the individual holes because the trim ring that goes on here, I didn't want to be fighting it with the ring sticking. So, all right, now let's grab that and throw that on. All right, so the trim ring, these are the trim rings that go on these fake, faux TRD Beadlocks, but these are TRD forged. So this guy just gets bolted on here, like so. And as I said, because I've got this mounting onto that surface, I didn't want something else. I didn't want this sticking to the Plastidip. So, you know, I just got this on the metal surface. But this guy goes on here like so. And I've got bolts, and I'm gonna use a very small I've got the bolts, and I'm gonna be using a very small amount of beadlock. So I've got the bolts here, and I'm gonna be using a very small amount of thread lock. So And then because I'm not trying to over torque these, we are just going to use good old screwdriver. Because these things are not actually locking the wheels. You know, these aren't true bead locks. So with some thread locker, these things do not need to be tight. The torque doesn't need to be through the roof. So no Hulk here. Because these things were an absolute pain to get off from not only the previous owner using too much torque or the factory or something, but the corrosion. So one thing I'm going to try to be mindful of is that these are going to come off maybe, you know, every 2 or 3 years. I'm going to undo all these bolts and then retorque them in, just so that the dissimilar metals of stainless steel into the aluminum doesn't seize. So, and then this guy here, this is one that's a little chewed up. So, but again, with some thread locker, that should be plenty. And there we have it, guys. Got these things fully Plastidipped, nice and clean, good bronze gold. This kit turned out great. I picked this up on Marketplace from a guy for 60 bucks, and all cleaned up. So next step, throw them on the car. Super happy with how these turned out. So next step, got to throw these things on the car. I'm hoping they're actually pretty balanced. I thought about bringing them to a local shop and having them balance all of them before they throw them on. But honestly, the logistics of trying to get all of these wheels and tires to the shop on top of getting the truck to the shop, I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it on myself, take it for a drive, see how it feels, and then I'll take them and get them balanced if I have to. So let's get these things on. All right, guys, and there we have it. The Rock Warriors are mounted to the car. Let's try and get that view. So, yeah, and literally, as the storm is rolling in, it is raining. Just got them on, but man, super happy with how these things turned out. So, again, long process, Plastidip in the wheels. Prep is what's super important. Take your time, let them dry. yeah, I mean, this is a super easy project that you guys can do on your own. I've wanted to do it once before, but this is my first like legit time that, you know, it turned out well. Anyway, I'm tired. I got to get inside before this rain. If you guys like this content, definitely give me a follow. I've got a lot of other cars that I'm going to be working on and trying to document and stuff. So, you know, click that button below, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.